When I first married Clara, I knew she had a love for high society. Her charm, grace, and confidence drew people in effortlessly. I was proud of her success and didn't mind being in the background. After all, she earned her place in that world, and I was simply the man lucky enough to stand beside her. But over time, that balance began to shift. The woman who once appreciated my quiet strength started treating it as weakness. One evening, Clara invited me to a luxurious dinner she had organized for her company's partners. It was held at one of the most expensive restaurants in the city, with chandeliers glowing and soft jazz playing in the background. I felt a little out of place in my simple suit among her well-dressed, confident colleagues, but I was determined to support her and enjoy the night. She greeted me with a polite smile, not the warm affection she once used to. That was my first sign the night wouldn't go as I hoped. The evening started well enough: small talk, laughter, and introductions. Clara's co-workers praised her management skills, and I listened proudly. But as the night went on and wine filled the glasses, the tone changed. Someone asked how Clara and I met, and she laughed in a way that made my stomach twist. "Oh, Mark. He was a simple guy back then," she said with a smirk. "Still is, actually. I had to teach him a few things about class." Everyone chuckled politely, but I could feel the sting. I tried to smile it off, thinking she didn't mean harm, but she didn't stop there. "He still doesn't know which fork to use for salad," she joked later, turning my quiet nature into entertainment. The table roared with laughter. My face burned, but I stayed silent. I wasn't angry yet, just disappointed. I had been her supporter, her partner, the one who stood by her when she struggled. Yet here she was, treating me like a story for amusement. As the dinner continued, she added another jab about my basic job. She had forgotten, or ignored, the nights I spent helping her prepare for her first promotion, the times I paid the bills when her salary couldn't. I saw the glimmer of pride in her eyes as others laughed at her wit. For her, it was just social charm. For me, it was betrayal dressed as humor. I excused myself and went to the restroom, splashing cold water on my face. I stared at my reflection and thought about who I'd become: quiet, small, tolerated. Somewhere along the line, I'd stopped being her equal and started being her accessory. That realization stung more than her words. When I returned, the main course had just ended. Everyone was relaxed, talking and laughing again. Clara was in the center, glowing with confidence. I took my seat quietly and waited for the right moment. Then, as the waiter refilled my glass, I raised it gently and smiled. "Everyone," I began, my voice steady but calm, "I'd like to make a toast." The table turned silent, and all eyes were on me. Clara smiled uncertainly, perhaps thinking I'd say something flattering about her. I looked at her directly. "To my wife, Clara," I said, "the most ambitious woman I've ever known. You've taught me that success comes with a price, and tonight I've realized that sometimes that price is respect." A quiet murmur rippled through the table. Clara's smile faltered slightly, unsure how to react. I continued, keeping my tone measured. "I may not know which fork to use for salad, and I may not wear the most expensive suits. But I know how to value people, not belittle them. I know that real class isn't about what's on the table. It's about how we treat those who sit with us." I lifted my glass higher and took a calm sip. The silence that followed was heavy. A few guests looked down, uncomfortable. Clara's face had turned pale, and she forced a laugh, trying to ease the tension, but the damage was done. My words had drawn a line she couldn't step over so easily. After the dinner ended, we rode home in silence. She tried to speak once, but I didn't respond. The car felt colder than ever before. When we reached home, I turned to her and said softly, "You wanted a man who could stand beside you, not behind you. Tonight, you saw that man again." Then I walked inside, leaving her on the porch, speechless. In the days that followed, something changed between us. She apologized quietly one morning, realizing her pride had turned her cruel. But I didn't rush to forgive. Respect, once broken, doesn't rebuild easily. From that night on, I decided never to let anyone, no matter how close, mock my worth for the sake of their image. I had lifted my glass not just to speak, but to reclaim something far more valuable: my dignity.